All right, welcome back to the Elias Moreira podcast. It's been a while, but a lot of things have been going on and a lot of changes in my life. And so I thought let's make a podcast episode, prior of the year ending, because I think, there's a lot of learnings that I got out of these last months and a lot of, challenges, but at the same time a lot of good things also happen. I went to Las Vegas for a show in the Sphere, which was fucking insane. I'm gonna go into that a little bit. Also, my new job here in Poland, as you might not know, is I'm moved to Poland, to Wroclaw, because I won a place in the orchestra here in Wroclaw Philharmonic Orchestra. And I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity. So we'll talk a little bit about my life here in Poland, what it is like. And, because I've been living in Europe, in different countries, in Germany, in Portugal, in Belgium, and traveled a lot within Europe. And there's a lot of things that I saw and realized, and things that I now see in Poland, which are really great. And I want to talk about that a little bit. I'm in my new apartment also, which I'm super happy. I found a really cool apartment in city center. I'm here in my kitchen, and it feels great to have your own apartment. Even if it's not that big, if it's small, still it's your own private place. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. My progress in the gym, because it's also something that I'm really proud of myself. I've been very disciplined lately, and also things that I noticed that I struggle with, and things that I'm, challenging with when I practice the cello and playing in the orchestra itself, what it is like, and what are the challenges that are now falling on me, because, being in a new orchestra is always a bit stressful, because you are not fully in the orchestra yet. You are on a trial year. That's where I'm right now. So I have 1 year now to prove to the members of the orchestra that I'm worth it of being in this orchestra, right? And that's stressful, because you never know what's going to happen. So we're going to talk about these little things. And so let's talk about first Poland, because Poland is an amazing country, I must say. I really, really love this country. So I lived in Germany before coming here, and a few things that differentiate Germany from Poland, for example, is that in Germany you find a lot of people that are very rectangular thinking. So there is no space of flexibility. So for example, there's actually a problem right now that I'm going through with my old apartment, where, I signed a contract for 2 years with this apartment in Germany, but I had to leave due to, professional reasons, due to a new job here in Poland. I had to leave 1 year earlier. So I tried to explain that to the agency, but the German way of thinking says, no, you signed a contract for 2 years, so now you have to stay 2 years because it's what you said in the contract. And I tried to explain, listen, it's not that I don't want to stay here or whatever. It's not that I'm just moving for fun. It's because I have to move and I can't pay 2 apartments. I have to find an apartment in Poland. But still, they didn't fucking do it. They didn't accept. Now they're forcing me to pay. And that required me to get juristic help, right? I have a lawyer now who's just fighting for me and being a pain in the ass for them. But it's what they fucking asked for. So now you got that, and now they have to pay me the fact that I had to pay the lawyer. So they, have to pay me that I pay the lawyer. So they are just digging their own hole because of their stupid regulations and having no flexibility, no basic human logic. They don't have fucking basic human logic. Listen, it's so easy to understand. But no, we have to follow the rules, because in Germany we have the rules. So one thing I'm really happy here in Poland is way more chill about that. People are you need some help, people are going to help you, and they're not going to make it difficult, And in Germany, it's very like this. And now, I'm here adapting to the new climate also because Poland, even though it's a neighboring country to Germany, it's still different. It's more cold. It's more dark in the winter. It's also, the people they're not as rectangular thinking as the Germans, but at the same time, they're, of course, it's a colder mindset. They're Slavic culture. They're super friendly once you open them up, and you're, if you ask for help, they're super helpful people. They're gonna be your best friends. But, me as a Portuguese-born, half Brazilian guy, of course, my standards of being warm is, of course, different than what people are used to here. But, I'm traveling through the world, and I adapt quite quickly now to the different cultures. But it's also because my family is from different countries. My mom is from Austria, so I'm also used to this like more Central European German kind of thinking, so I understand. Nonetheless, there's a thing that I notice very strongly here in Poland, and I think that's not a news for everyone, but Europe is kind of falling apart. I mean, if you see so much shit is happening in Europe itself, and I lived in Brussels for 4 years. I lived in Germany for 5 years, and I've seen what it is like in those countries, and especially in the capitals and big cities like Brussels. Oh my God, like you can't be relaxed walking through the street anymore. Like you see a lot of weird shit happening, a lot of weird people menacing around the street. A lot of people that are here in Europe, not with the good intentions, but just for their own comfort and their own, getting the most out of the system. Yeah, and that's something that you don't see in Poland. So Poland has been very strict with illegal immigration policies. So the people that are here in Poland are here because they are integrated, right? They're working here. There's a lot of Ukrainian immigrants here, but they're all here and they're working and they're integrating and they're, contributing to society. Not like in Brussels, where you see entire neighborhoods monopolized by these, certain groups of people that try to escape the system without paying taxes and getting money under the carpet, and it's sad to see because, Belgium is a great country. Like the way they built up their system there, it's really well thought out, even though it's so complex, their political system, right? You have the Flemish part, you have the French speaking Wallonian part, you have Brussels, which is one thing in and of itself. And somehow they managed to keep that country going. It's impressive. But then, you have so many people coming, taking advantage of getting this money from the government, right? It's called chômage in French. And they just don't want to work. They just want to get the subsidies, and like hard-working people then are the ones who suffer from that. And besides that, that's like not the main thing. The main thing is that you're not safe anymore. Like you cannot walk through Brussels. Even me as a man, I feel sometimes like, holy shit, something can happen. All of a sudden, some guy can come up and stab you. I mean, that's something that happens in London quite a lot, right? In England, you see like people getting stabbed all the fucking time. Paris, you're getting scammed around the Eiffel Tower everywhere. Like in the Eiffel Tower, if you go there, if you're not from Europe and you think, wow, Paris is like this romantic place. Yes, it is very beautiful, especially the center, extremely beautiful. But, just go to the Eiffel Tower. Go around the Eiffel Tower and see if it's what you expected. It's not. There's everywhere like these gamblers trying to scam you for your money. People selling, these metal Eiffel Towers, different sizes, and charging a ridiculous amount of prices. People just trying to steal money from you, and it's crazy. And in Europe, it's just like being like this now for the past 5-10 years or something. It's getting more and more worse, and basically what I want to say is Poland is the only country in Europe that kind of withstand that. They pretty soon understood that this is not going well, so they stopped people from coming into the country to take advantage of their system. And that's why in Poland now you walk around, oh my god, you're in heaven, like you're safe. Every woman can walk on the street at 3 a.m, nothing is gonna happen to her. There are gonna be drunk people, yeah, of course, Slavic people love to drink, but still, they're not gonna, menace you or harass you or anything. They're gonna, maybe they're gonna be drunk, but that's fine. You just move your way and nothing's gonna happen. So Poland is a really great country because you feel very safe here. Everything works quite well. People are friendly. People are nice. They're gonna help you. So be like Poland. Besides that, if we talk about my trip to Las Vegas, so that's gonna be interesting. So I went to Las Vegas because there was I'm playing with the Symphony of Unity, which is this orchestra that is sponsored by the Tomorrowland Festival, big electronic music festival, if you don't know. And orchestra is joining symphonic sounds with electronic music, which is a really cool concept. And it's been very growing the past few months and years. It's becoming more and more popular. People are really when they come to Tomorrowland, one of their main things they want to see is the Symphony of Unity. And that's something we see every time we play. We played 4 times in the festival in Belgium. And it was always full. The whole Freedom stage, which is the second biggest stage, which is inside this huge kind of building. 20,000 people there. Just, every time Symphony of Unity was up, people were coming. And it was always new people because the show was always the same, right? We were playing the same thing, but it was always full. And then what happened is that United States, there is this other festival called Insomniac, which is like a Tomorrowland, but in America. They also run EDC and these kind of big festivals. And they said, hey, you know what? Let's make a unity between Tomorrowland and Insomniac and make this cool new concept within the Sphere, which is this big concert hall full of LEDs around it. And inside there's this biggest cinematic screen which allows you to really have an immersive experience. And they wanted to do something like this with an orchestra making the music. So they invited us and we went to Las Vegas for these shows. I played 4 shows, but in total there were 9 or something. So they went in August, September, and October. I went only in September because of other reasons I couldn't go. And it was really insane. So Las Vegas in and of itself is a city out of this world. So you walk around, you feel like it's like a Disneyland for adults. You're walking around, you get in the airport. There are already casinos in the airport, there are gambling places in the air. You get out of the plane into the gates, different gates, and you have these gaming machines everywhere, and you immediately feel okay, some crazy things are happening here. And then you go to Las Vegas. The city in and of itself is actually not that special if you don't look at the strip. If you don't look at the Las Vegas strip, which is where all the casinos, hotels, and the crazy events and concerts and shows are everywhere, that's amazing. That's out of this world. But if you go another neighborhood of Las Vegas, it's just a neighborhood like everywhere else. It's just residential places, supermarkets and stuff. But Las Vegas makes it so incredible to see because you have the Sphere, you have the Bellagio, you have the Caesar's Palace, you have the Flamingo, you have the Paris Hotel, and every hotel is a Venetian also. So in this Venetian hotel, for example, you have channels, I don't know, with water inside. When there's really gondoleros, in the Italians, in the hotel where there's a shopping mall, there it's a hotel, it's a casino, it's everything. You have so many different things to do within one casino, and then you have this multiple casinos and hotels everywhere where so many cool things are happening. And it's so bright, the city, that you can literally see it from the atmosphere, from the universe. You can look down and you see, oh, that's Las Vegas, because there are so many lights. It's just out of this world. I never seen a city like that. And I was walking around, and the people, Americans, let's talk about the American people. Americans are insanely friendly. I don't know if it's genuinely friendly or if it's just like this thing that the Americans developed, this small talk and kind of being friendly for the first few minutes and then just not caring anymore. But honestly, I prefer this fake friendliness from the Americans than the honest, grumpy German who maybe is not that friendly, but at least he's being honest. I honestly prefer it differently, because I was feeling so welcome in America. I was like going throughout the street, and I would just say like, good morning, and they would say, good morning, sir. God bless you, sir. Whatever, they would just say, how you doing, dog? How you doing? Like with this American accent. And I would just, like, you would start conversations with everybody. I was hiking up because between the shows, we had then also some time off. We had some, how you call that? Like between the shows, right? We had the shows on the weekend, and then like during the week, we did like exploring. So a lot of musicians made little groups, of people, and then some went to LA, which I also went to visit LA. And then to the national parks around Las Vegas, in Nevada, or in Utah, and in Arizona. And I think it was in Utah, we went to this Zion National Park, really beautiful, full of like these Grand Canyon type rocks everywhere, red dirt, and looks really like a Western movie. I would go there and hike up the mountain, and people were coming, into our direction, going down again, and you could just like start a conversation with everybody. Would say like some random sentence like, "Oh, the only way is up," and people would say like, "Yeah, the only way is up, dog. You're almost there. Let's go." They would just like, the energy is just such a cool thing. The Americans have such amount of energy. The dancers with who we were playing in the Sphere, because besides the orchestra, there were also like these choreography dancers. They had so much energy. We were, of course, like the first show, I literally, when I took the plane to Las Vegas, I missed my plane because I was coming from Poland, right? So I was flying from Poland to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam, there would have been the flight to Las Vegas. But I missed the connection because the flight from Poland was delayed. And so I literally arrived 10 minutes after the doors were closed, and I just saw the plane like right there. And I was like, no, God damn it, let me just through. I'm almost there. I missed the plane, so I had to stay one night in Amsterdam, and they booked me for the next flight. So I arrived literally like a few hours before the show. I was completely tired, jet lagged, and you arrive there, and also the other musicians were still tired and jet lagged because this takes some time to adapt to the new time zone, right? I think it's like 9 hours difference between Central Europe and Las Vegas. So we arrived there, and the dancers like, yeah, let's go, pumping up everybody, and we musicians just like, oh fuck, we're gonna go now here. And then we play, we are so tired, and the musician and the dancers are full of energy, and then they say, let's go party, let's go, we have so many clubs we can go to. And then like some people went to sleep. And then also like partying in Las Vegas is crazy. I went party like once, but also just very like, calm. I didn't went crazy, but I heard from other musicians, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say these things in the podcast, but there were some shady things happening in Las Vegas, like crazy. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk about that, but Americans, fucking great people. I love the Americans. You can think about them what they are, but American people are just so friendly and cool. Of course, there are some downsides because if you want to really make a genuine connection, you don't oftentimes know if the person is actually really being your friend or not. But anyways, I prefer that than the honest German who is grumpy and in a bad mood, right? So these were, and the show in and of itself also, that was insane, right? I mean, I don't know if you ever seen something about the Sphere. If you haven't, go the Sphere Las Vegas and check it out, because that is just the most insane concert hall of the entire world. It's out of this world, really. And to be able to play there, that was, I mean, the first time I received an email saying like, hey, we're probably going to Las Vegas, I was like, what? No way. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Next topic is my new job. So I'm in Wroclaw right now, and I'm part of the Wroclaw Philharmonic Orchestra. So playing Symphony of Unity, the orchestra, is a completely different thing than playing in a normal professional orchestra. Because Symphony of Unity is like an experimental thing that is gaining momentum. And the music in and of itself is very simple but epic. You know, the music is epic, but it's not too difficult to play. It's not like you're playing Stravinsky, Prokofiev, Shostakovich kind of music where you play it in a professional orchestra here in Wrocław. And so the music that I play here in Poland is way more demanding in that sense, right? And once I entered the orchestra, as a musician, you go through a trial period. So 1 year or maybe even 2, sometimes even more. They don't sign you fully because they want to know how you are, how you're connecting with the other musicians, how you are musically, how good as a cellist or any other instrument you are. And they're going to test you. They're going to see, okay, let's see how this guy plays or this girl plays. And that's very stressful because you know you're constantly being observed and judged. And I mean, as a musician, you're anyways always going to be judged. It doesn't matter if you're in an orchestra or if you're just playing your own solo concert or playing in chamber music. You're always going to be evaluated and see if you are a good musician. But for me, you know, I fought for so long to get into a position where I'm finally into a professional orchestra. Because winning an audition is far from easy. Like, there are so many students from conservatories and music that never make it to that stage where they enter a professional orchestra, because auditioning is so demotivating sometimes because you're constantly being declined. It's more usual to be declined in an audition than to win an audition, because it's always like one spot, maybe 2 maximum available, and then there are going to be 30, 40 candidates for that spot, and you have 2 minutes to show what you got. So statistically speaking, it's very low that you're going to win. But what I learned is over this process with auditioning is that, okay, if I just keep on going and don't give up, statistically speaking, at some point I'm going to win. So after 2.5 years of auditioning and doing roughly 17 auditions, the last 3, 4, 5 auditions, 4 auditions, I started to notice a pattern. I started to notice, okay, I'm starting to understand this. I'm starting to be more confident. I'm starting to getting into second rounds. I'm starting to pass into the final rounds. And then at some point it worked, right? So I realized that, okay, actually I just have to keep going. Of course, don't just blindly keep on going without asking for feedback, without getting a mentor that helps you. That all are things that is going to increase your chances to win, which is what I did. But then, you know, finally I got into the orchestra, and then you still have to fear if you're going to stay in it, because you still have 1 year now of trial. So if I don't pass the trial, I'm again out on the street. I still have to find another place where I can work. And you know, me, I'm an artist. I cannot work in a fucking 9-to-5 office job. It's just not possible. My brain is not able to do that. And I tried. Like, I did some jobs where I worked in an office. I remember I worked 2 years as a language expert for Portuguese in an IT company that developed GPS voices for cars in Mercedes specifically. Like, and I worked there, you know, like, you know, analyzing prompts and seeing if it's correctly written in Portuguese and whatever. And I did that for 2 years. And I remember, like, I already went there, you know, and I just worked like as a student in this job. So I wasn't even full-time employed. I was just like working like only in the morning, not even every day. And that was already like burning me out. So I can know that for me there is no other way than this artistic road as a musician in an orchestra, or honestly right now I cannot think of anything else besides playing in orchestra. But so the only thing for me is being in an orchestra, and if I don't stay in that orchestra, I'm gonna fucking have to do auditions again, not being financially stable. Because for the first time in my life, I'm finally financially independent and stable. I don't need help from my family. I'm finally, getting my own apartment, being able to pay to save money, to go eat in restaurants if I want to travel. And this feels so liberating. Plus, I'm doing the thing that I actually love to do. I'm not working in a shitty job that I don't like. I'm working in something that is my passion, which is something that I grow from, spiritually and mentally and everything. So this is such an important thing that the stakes are so high for me that the stress comes with it and everything. And now if we talk about how I practice and how I, prepare for rehearsals. Tomorrow, for example, we have our general rehearsal. We have a concert tomorrow evening. And it takes some time for me to, get into the mood of what this orchestra is like. Because every orchestra has a different sound. The colleagues are different and acoustics and everything. And you have like this learning curve as a starter, as an orchestra musician. And I'm still in that learning curve. Because all the other musicians around me, they're sharp, they're professional, they play everything correctly, and I still feel like an imposter constantly, actually. And it's tough because, after rehearsal, you messed up some places and you come home and you think like, what the fuck, how can I? Everyone else plays better than me. I'm not deserving to be here. I have these thoughts constantly. I always think like they made a mistake. I shouldn't be in this orchestra. But then I have to realize that, hey, this is just my imposter syndrome, and it's not about that you're not deserving to be here. It's just your own insecurities. And the fact that you are in the orchestra already says something about you, right? So these are things that I have to tell myself constantly, and it's tough, but I'm getting a lot of program thrown at me. So every week we have to play new things. And, when I was a student, we had orchestra as well, but it was always like sporadically, like sometimes this month and next month. Like it was not consistent. There was always here and there. In Christmas time there was more, in the summer there was nothing. And in this orchestra now, in the professional world, you're constantly being thrown, look here, next program. And sometimes really tough stuff, things that your brain literally hurts from reading the scores. Like, I think we're going to play next month, we're going to play Sacre du Printemps, which is from Stravinsky, Rite of Spring, that's what it's called. And it's one of the most rhythmically complex pieces for orchestra. Like, it's really such a beast of a composition that you have to look into the scores weeks ahead of the actual rehearsal, because you cannot sight read that at all. So I'm looking at these scores and I'm like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1, different accents on different notes, like random sporadic things like that, changing all the time. It's like you're going up a mountain, but the mountain is constantly changing as well. And it's not just you are with like 70 other people going up the mountain, and you have to be perfectly coordinated while the mountain floor is changing all the time. That's what it feels like to play Stravinsky Rite of Spring. And you have to be so secure with everything, with every entrance. And to do that, to be that secure, you have to study that music. Like, you have to... I will put like a little snippet out of this piece so you know what I'm talking about, how this actually sounds. If we keep on looking at that, this makes my brain hurt. It started hurting my brain so much that I started taking omega-3 fatty acids, which is like this. Which is this thing, omega-3. which helps your neurons to flow better in your brain or whatever. That's at least what science says. So I just start taking that because I want my brain to be, focused and in shape to play this. That's why like my job is not like a 9-to-5 job where you work 8 hours straight. That's why it's shorter. So we work only like until 1 in the afternoon, and then it's done, like from 9:30 till 1. And then you're done. But at least like these hours where you are there, it's very intense and hyper focused. And that's why the time is different. That's why it's not a normal 9-to-5 job, right? And so that's what I've been trying to get better at. And at the same time, I'm also trying to improve my physical health, right? So while I'm improving my mental health with omega-3 fatty acids and walks on the near river here in Wroclaw and just trying to get my mind to calm down, I also go to the gym now really much because I have this freedom, right? I have finally my own financial stability. I have no one telling me what the fuck I should do now. I finally, have everything sorted out. My own apartment, I can buy my own groceries, whatever I want. And it finally helps me to gain my, to achieve my goals in the gym. And so the past 2 months, I've been working out really consistently every week, at least 4 times a week, sometimes 5 or even 6 times a week, but 4 in minimum. Eating healthy. I haven't eaten any junk food in I don't know how much time, and I'm sleeping correctly. I have a really good sleep schedule, drinking enough water, all these things, getting enough protein, taking my creatine, whatever, vitamin D, because I need that also. So I'm really happy with my fitness development, which is, it makes you also more confident, also in the orchestra, in my job and in my personal life, my social life, my friends, my family. This is something, that I encourage everyone to do, actually. If you don't do any sports, then you definitely should start. If you don't want to go to the gym, okay, I understand, but at least do something. Like go hiking every week, go to the swimming or whatever, but do something, go running. But for me, I like the fact that, my clothes are fitting better on me right now. I have a better posture. I look great in the mirror. At least these are things that boost my confidence. So I can definitely encourage other people to do that as well. And I mean, these are pretty much the things that I wanted to talk about right now. 2026 is probably going to be one of the greatest years still to come. At least I have good expectations for the next year. I'm really looking forward to this. A lot of cool things are coming, and I will keep you up to date on the podcast. I'm sorry again for not posting too much recently, but I'm looking forward to do another episode. Till then, see you there.